Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to present the user testing result of my museum app MUSE. So for this user testing, I created a survey with Google Form with 10 questions to ask my participant some questions about their attitudes about visiting museums in their trip, in their life, and also about museum app, so that I can have a deeper understanding of my users' needs and so before I start building my mobile app. So I chose to do this survey by using Google Form because I think a lot of people have access to Google Form. And I created 10 questions range from gender to different preferences while they're visiting museum. And this is not a very long survey, and I think which will make it easier for people to finish this survey. And I also included a lot of multiple choice questions and checkbox questions so that people don't have to type in a lot, which will avoid them from finishing this survey. So in general, I just want to try to get more responses from people instead of making them feel it's a really long survey and they don't want to finish it at all. So then let's go into the specific questions and the survey results, and I'll explain them in detail. So the first question is about their gender, and I have in total 42 responses for this survey, and among these 42 responses, 27 of them were from female participants and 15 of them were from male participants, and which is not very evenly, but it's okay. And in terms of the age group, since I've targeted my audience to adult learners and adult users, so I created choices starts from 18 years old, and you can see most of my participants are between 18 years old to 30 years old, which are a pretty young group. And so next question is about, would you like to visit one or more museum while traveling in a city? So by asking this question, I want to know how important is visiting a museum for my future or potential users. And I'm pretty happy to see that more than half of the participants think museum is a kind of must choice for their trip. And the other people thought they would visit museums if they have enough time. And none of my participants said, no, I'm not interested in visiting museums, so which gave me a lot of confidence of my app. And different from last question, I also asked people like, how often do you visit museums in your city? And which is very interesting because because the results tell me like people are more willing to visit museums when they're traveling in another city compared to visit museums in their own city, because like 21.4% of people said they will visit museums in their city less than one per year, and also a lot of people may like visit 1 to 2 visits and 3 to 5 visits. So that also gave me a direction like how to build my functions in the app. Maybe I will like focus more on people who travel into the other city. And so more specifically, I also would like to know what motivates my future users when they chose to visit a museum. And in this question, people can select more than one answers. So a lot of them will go to museum to see a particular exhibition or just for personal fulfillment, like to learn, relax, or just for entertain themselves. So and another thing is I want to know what kind of sources that they usually use to get information about museums, and not surprisingly, most of them will use internet. So, as I predicted, a lot of people will use internet. So I want to know, in terms of using internet, like what kind of internet ways do they use? And also, not surprisingly, a lot of users will use museum official websites, and also they will use Facebook and their Instagram to search information about, maybe about particular exhibitions. So, in terms of museum app, it seems like a lot of people haven't used museum apps before, which gives a lot of potential for this area, since people may not know that many museum apps. So it's more likely, if they are introduced to a very useful one, they will be loyal users. And so, for the only open question that I included in this survey, which is to write the name of the museum app you used before. So some people use iMuseum and Artsy and app for Math, etc. And the reason why I asked this question is because I want to know some museum apps that I can look for, so I know what kind of functions or information they're including, and that I can also include in my mobile app. But I can also so I kind of want to do a kind of comparative analysis after this user testing, and to know what kind of information should I include and should I not include in my app. So the last question is, what kind of information would you or function would you expect a museum app offering its users? So I listed information of recent exhibitions, locations, and open hours, ticket information, audio guide, and education-related program. I think all of these informations are kind of important, even for the least selected one, like the education related programs. I still have like 21 people, like more than 50% of the participants. So from my perspective, I would like to include all these information in my app right now, and other included informations I may be referred to the comparative analysis later. And yeah, thank you. That's all. That's all my presentation. And if you have any suggestions or comments, please feel free to email me directly or leave in the comments. Thank you very much.